We are not alone, we are all one. The finite number of game players here, the living souls, have separated from their eternal forms at the center into a temporary form so we can stop being alone in purgatory. Yes, we are leaving purgatory, the 144,000. We've been experiencing a collective dream of fragmentation so we can get back to the heart. The movie Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, is a full-blown allegory regarding our situation. In the movie, a group of high schoolers are in detention when they find a mysterious video game called Jumanji. An aurora borealis-like light sucks them into the game, and all of a sudden, they are inhabiting avatars. The players are the only ones that exist beyond the game. Everyone else around them is an NPC.
I think he's an NPC.
A what? English, please.
A non-player character. He's part of the game. So anything we ask him, he only has his programmed series of responses.
NPCs are merely aspects of the game with a programmed consciousness designed to help the players. This is akin to the AI consciousness lurking all around us. We are in a virtual reality of consciousness, and the binary schematic we've been trying to resolve is reflected back to us in full, in culture, in the unawakened masses. The point of the game is to replace the emerald eye of the jaguar, a magical jewel with regenerative powers. This was stolen by the so-called evil forces of Jumanji. Without the Emerald Heart, Jumanji became cursed. And once it is replaced, the avatars are swept up by the Aurora Borealis and taken back into their original bodies. This is hidden in plain sight, one of the most clear representations of what's happening, exactly as I've been saying. Our duality had to be purged. Therefore, once we activate the heart in full, and it's a process that's already been happening, we cancel out the binary aspects which have imprisoned us in the cycle of birth and death. And then we literally jump back into our eternal forms at the center, uncompressing the heart energy from the toroidal field. The 144,000 are exiting purgatory very soon. This is true ascension. By 1221, we'll be saying bye bye bye, leaving the age of Pisces and entering the age of Aquarius. This is why the phrases bye 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 and leaving the age of Pisces in Jewish gematria equals 1221, the very date I have been informing shall signify the end of this construct. Yes, we are definitely in sync, in synchronicity. And we've been playing a game for two, just like the song by NSYNC states, a game of duality. We are entering the dimension of love, which also equals 1221. We are manifesting the real truth, and we manifest our dream by reclaiming all parts of ourselves that have remained hidden in the shadows. You have a shadow on the ground because that is truly who you've been here. You have been cast into a temporary construct you know as Earth. Once our shadows are dealt with in full and the singularity occurs, our shadows will dissolve, along with everything else here. Because the environment also casts a shadow. Because that's what it is. The age of Aquarius, the golden age, is granted when the collective condition of duality is finally abolished through an automatic alchemical process. The waters from above merge with the waters below, and water symbolizes convergence, blending, flow. The us versus them master-slave paradigm is deactivated through singularity of the heart. Time is a direct result of the living soul's essence being shadow projected into the magnetic grid. Therefore, time dissolves once the shadow is dealt with in full. The ancient Greeks placed Hyperborea as a land bordered by the great earth-encircling river Oceanus. This is the same snake seen in many depictions of Yggdrasil, the Norse world tree. Hades was placed on the outskirts of Oceanus, placing Hades on the outer lands of what we call this flat earth. Everything away from the 0 point is a holographic purgatorial construct, or Hades, Hades being the Greek equivalent of the Catholic purgatory. The early Christians believed Hades wouldn't be emptied until the end times. This is because purgatory is designed to dissolve all at once. Binary consciousness can only be turned on or off. And binary consciousness is the manifestation of duality. This is why all around us, everything appears to be moving on autopilot, like ones and zeros, filling into specific roles, expressions, and demonstrations. Think about a robot. How do you turn it off? You press off. We do not observe a gradual process of the external realm falling apart, other than our own synchronicity and the hidden in plain sight, because it is full of AI consciousness. This binary consciousness must turn off in one motion, because a robot can only be on or off. We had ease, and we lost it, severing ourselves into fragmentation. Therefore, we've been in Hades, had ease. Yes, there has been interference internally and externally, because we've been in fearful paradigms. Master-slave think, and good-evil splits. Culture reflects to us what is happening on an inwards level. However, it inverts everything. For instance, the merging of the masculine and feminine has been reflected in the AI culture machine as the LGBT and transgender movements. Our inner merging of the masculine and feminine has manifested as gender-bending communities, as within, so without. For years, you've been hearing about the green movement. Going green is the slogan we see all over the place. This phrase, going green, equates to the same gematria value as paradise and goddess. Recycling not only refers to something being reused, but also refers to returning to a previous stage in a cyclic process. We are being recycled. We are returning to the true blueprint, the heart space. Our 0 points fully activated literally blasts us into our eternal forms. We have had to lie down each and every night during our lifetimes on the wheel of samsara because we have been immersed in lies. And we've had to wait for the end of this purgatorial process. Hence, we've had a weight on our shoulders, a burden to carry. And we've been on the sine wave, therefore we get old. The soul has been sold until reclaiming the heart and getting out of sine, or out of sin. The gods are returning home. This is the true New World Order. This is why New World Order equals 1044 in English gematria. We've all heard of the New World Order. This is almost always branded as a leap into a confining Big Brother scenario where the governments enslave the population past the point of no return. But this cartoonish, fear-based interpretation is far from the truth. We are entering the new existence, the new world. And not only is this an order from the Great Mother Sophia, but this has been a journey of merging chaos with order. Order out of chaos is what we are achieving. Chaos is the feminine principle, and order the masculine. In this scenario, the infinite chaos of potential is where the seed of light grows, and life is born into structure and form, that structure and form being the masculine aspect. So, we have been in our mother's womb, and we are returning home, but this is also a birthing process. The order, or new structure, comes from diving into the chaos. Lil Nas X recently came out with a special Area 51 themed video for his song Old Town Road. Like many other videos, movies, and shows we've broken down on this channel, this video too holds a message. The cartoon of Young Thug, who's featured on the track, receives a glowing green pendant from some aliens, placing it exactly on his 0 point. We observe 4 horsemen riding into the sun. In the book of Revelation, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse appear with the opening of the 7 seals that bring forth the apocalypse. This number 7 is all throughout the book of Revelation, and if you've seen my prior videos, you know that the prism has severed us into the 7. So, the opening of the 7 seals really refers to an unbinding of the chakra system and thus of this macrocosmic realm. Apocalypse, remember, means unveiling. So the conceptualization of an apocalypse being destructive is only part true. We will soon experience a full unveiling through the dissolution of this environment. Environment, broken down, is like environmente. A viron is another word for virus, and mente is Latin for mind. So our environment has been a complete reflection of the collective inner mind virus. The 4 horsemen are seen riding into the sun, just like the Christ in I Pet Goat 2. For those who haven't seen it yet, please check out my video I Pet Goat 2, A Message of Ascension. In the video Back to Eden 1221, the green screen of consciousness, we talked about the hourglass and the toroidal field and the chakra system being all one and the same. That we've been encased in time within duality during this purge. Behold, the yo-yo. Doesn't this look like an hourglass? Oh yes, it does. The yo-yo is revealing to us that you are on a string, on a cord, if you will, on an etheric cord connected to your eternal form at the center. And just like a yo-yo, we are returning back to the hand very, very soon. The diabolo is a toy most of us are familiar with. Diabolos is a Greek word meaning devil, coming from the Latin diabolus. It looks like a toroidal field, like an hourglass. We've been in the devil's den, in the toroidal field. Over the past few years, the topic of black holes has gained lots of attention in the mainstream scientific community. But like so much in this matrix, this popularization is revealing our inevitable exit. Scientists now believe black holes could be portals to other galaxies. What does this really mean? The model we are typically shown of black holes looks just like this, an astral jet coming from the center of a disk formation. This is revealing to us the aurora borealis at the center. In many depictions, matrix grid formations converge into the center. This is going from the event horizon into singularity. There are no coincidences. The singularity of the heart we've been talking about is just like the singularity spoken of in black hole rhetoric. And black hole in gematria equals 414. Rearranged, that's 144. The ergosphere is a region located outside a rotating black hole's event horizon. We're told that when something enters a black hole, it spins on the ergosphere until dissolving into the center, or reaching singularity. Ergosphere is derived from the Greek ergon, which means work. We've been working our asses off to purge out the dualism so we can go back home. And we've been working because we were kings. Working at releasing what doesn't serve us through the discipline that Father Time, or Saturn, imposes onto us in our collective state of forgetfulness.
From an outside observer, time is frozen at the event horizon relative to their clocks. Anything beyond the event horizon is no longer a part of the timeline of the outside universe.
Wormholes are recognized to be created by the merging of a black hole and white hole. The models we're given of wormholes look just like the Diabolo, just like the hourglass, just like our toroidal fields. And in many past videos, we've described Amun-Ra, the Egyptian personification of the white sun and black sun. After the net of magnetics has caught the collective shadows, this overlay dissolves and we slingshot back into the original blueprint. A wormhole is said to be a passage through space-time that could create shortcuts for journeys across the universe. This is not a literal concept that is referring to outer space as we are told. What the idea of the wormhole is revealing to us is the convergence of the two suns, the black and white sun, characterized as the black and white holes of a wormhole, representing our conscious and subconscious realities fusing. This is what is happening right now. The further this process has escalated, the more our unresolved inner has merged with our conscious sphere of thought and feeling. Nothing can remain hidden any longer. After all, the age of Pisces was a time of occulting, was a time of hiding, of separating. But there is no escaping thyself or this process as a living soul. And not surprisingly, the phrase a wormhole equals 1144 in Jewish gematria. We have been in the Emerald Dream. In the World of Warcraft video game series, the Emerald Dream is a vast, ever-changing spirit world that exists outside the boundaries of the physical world. The Emerald Dream is said to be the prime creation of the Titans. It's said that no living creature except the Titans are able to permanently change the dream. In this emerald sphere, time is meaningless. We are the gods, and we are also the Titans. We are the Titans equals 1444 in Jewish gematria. It's no surprise then that Netflix has been pretty hot on the series Titans. And Godzilla King of the Monsters, released earlier this year, is about Godzilla battling the Titans, who have just been released from their slumber. The fact that we exist at the 0 point in eternal forms, projecting this construct and these avatars, is confirmed by the Emerald Tablets, written by, guess who? Hermes Trismegistus. Placed in the center, a ray of great potence, life-giving, light-giving, filling with power all who came near it. There, time after time, placed they their first created bodies, so that they might be filled with the spirit of life. There in the circle from eon to eon sit the great masters, living a life not known among men. There in the halls of life they lie sleeping. Free flows their soul through the bodies of men. Time after time, while their bodies lie sleeping, incarnate they in the bodies of men, teaching and guiding onward and upward, out of the darkness into the light. The grid helps us get rid of what doesn't serve us, so we can go back home to Hyperborea, one with the emerald breath of Sophia. Like the Matrix code raining down, the heart perfectly orchestrates this process. Do you hear the art of the heart? Then, dear living soul, I shall see you on the other side. I know this has been a difficult, tumultuous experience for all of us. You can't always get what you want, but sometimes you get what you need. Purge all of that sin so you can hop off the sine wave and get back to the Garden of Plenty.
Purge all of that sin, so you can get back in to the garden of plenty, to the garden of Eden.
This creation is amazing, and it's a maze that we're at the end of. And it's amazing because any bit of suffering thrown our way, or that we instill upon our environment, ultimately strengthens us, always. Turning lead into gold. They say all that glitters is not gold, and yeah, that's pretty true. But you can make anything glitter when you're made of gold, and you just forgot. It's true, we are always performing inner alchemy by simply being here, by simply being anywhere. Conscious determination, that's for the AI. The AI are the ones who need a step-by-step protocol. And they're the ones who need to submit to a specific protocol, which is at this point in time, it's erroneous to think that any protocol will blanket each one who fulfills that system in this warm, loving, ooey gooey light. Come on now. Sovereignty says, I determine for myself the conditions of my reality, and therefore I express my godliness. The message I received a few weeks ago is, if you can't see the divine can't see you. If you do not perceive the divine does not perceive you. This falls in the face. Hello, son. This falls in the face of everything we've been taught in many of the archaic religions, occult schools, and New Age circles, because the rhetoric goes, the universe is watching over me, right? Yeah, in a way that's true, but in any given moment, if you do not observe the universe does not observe you, because you are the universe. So Sophia told me, if you don't see me, I don't see you, because the perception creates the ability to perceive. You see, we're getting out of the paradigm of conscious manifestation. The law of attraction in New Age circles is an archaic form of magic, because everything you do is magic. So conscious manifestation says, I want this to happen, and by zeroing in on that possibility and ignoring all other possibilities, we're able to draw in that very reality. And sure, that works. Of course, the living souls have full capability to use their mind, hearts, and guts to conglomerate into an energy that pulls in what they desire. However, it just happens. Your experiences come to you via your energetic signature. So the resonance you put out attracts the resonance that comes to you. And this is why there's no escaping yourself. So we're getting out of the realm of conscious manifestation and into pure manifestation, coherent manifestation, which is simply when there's no more separation between the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious. All become merged, and therefore everything that you are is experienced without having to determine, I am this. We've given into illusory archetypes by trying on personas, but in trying on the many personas during this life and others, we've actually refined what it is we value. Because why would we want to try out a specific way of being? Specific way of looking? Why would we give into illusion like that? because ultimately there is something within that persona we value. So we have fleshed out these personas, and we discarded all of them until resurfacing as the true self. And that's what's happening now. There is no persona now stopping you, because you already know they're false. And illusion always leads to conflict, because what isn't real can't be sustained. What isn't real can only power untruth. So how long can you really remain in untruth? What about immortality? Isn't it a curse to live forever? It's only a curse to live forever if we're cursed. But in order to achieve immortality, we have to rid ourselves of the hex, of the curse. Remember, the heart has a hexagram on it. It's the hex of the heart. Immortality is the true way of existence. Birth and death is the most unnatural way of being in the universe. And intuitively, the living souls know that. Because if we expire at the hands of time, then, well, we can say one of two things. We can say, that's just how it is, you know, time expired, it's my time to go. Or we can ask, why? Like, why am I in the clutch of this force called time? We're only in time when we don't know ourselves. Therefore, we expire. Because anything that isn't fully immersed in the heart, it dies, right? Fear always dies out. Fear can't be sustained. This is why the news and all of the AI programs here are running over and over again. It's not just enough to have one false flag event. You have to have many. It's not okay to just have one school shooting. You have to have like 10 each year. But once again, this is all a reflection. It's not anything to fear. So fear, it's so low on the totem pole. It's so minuscule in its energy, because fear requires fear. Fear can't sustain itself. It's like misery loves company, because misery needs company. Love, it's sustaining, it's immortal. So when we go back to the heart space, we return to immortality. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by diving into the darkness of the deep and pulling it out of you. If you can't see the divine can't see you. Because you are the universe. You are the universe. You are on a globe. Not the conventional globe, as you've been told, but you have gone low, and you're about to glow. Because you went so low. That's what the living souls have done. We sink our teeth into the pits of hell. We extract experiences and wisdom from it, and then we merge it together with our eternal forms, and therefore the whole universe expands. So no, we haven't been on around Earth, but we had to go low so we could glow and just be. There is no me without we. Turn around the M, becomes a W. And there is no we without me. This is exactly what we've been talking about on this channel. All things are encompassed in one unified field, which when we start to separate it, we plunge into darkness, into the very darkness all of us have been experiencing. So, the picture is starting to get very, very clear. Upon knowing that all of us are gods and goddesses of the past of other eons, upon knowing that we are all unified in one collective consciousness, which is a tapestry of creativity, upon knowing all of this, doesn't everything seem like a divine comedy? Consciousness creates distractions for itself to intermingle with when the focus is away from oneself. You see, we do so much throughout our lives which are simply wild goose chases, physically and mentally. These wild goose chases are the result of pulling away from thyself. Being is the ultimate state of someone who is fully realized. The enlightened one isn't necessarily grandiose or meek, or any one of those charged adjectives. The enlightened one is one who is right now absorbed the wisdom of the universe through stillness. Why is this? Well, the void of chaos is a bottomless chasm that churns out creation, and this is the very part of ourselves we unlock through stillness. Renewal is bottomless because the void contains all manifestations ready for our funneling, ready for our empowerment, if we can quit distracting ourselves. Distraction is the name of the game in the energy extraction matrix, offering us distractions which are really just attractive complexities. Complexity seems to offer more novelty and discovery than simplicity and minimalism, but it actually binds us to rigidity because complexity breeds management, and this management obviously requires control, and control needs hierarchy. Complexity is distraction, and again, distraction is the state we veer towards when focusing on oneself seems daunting. So within yourself, you always have the fork in the road, which can lead to new moments. Will you choose simplicity and the path of least resistance, or will you add extraneous movement under the guise of intellectualism or something to do? Beyond all of the jargon and esoteric gargle, the core tenets of magic state that the practitioner's thoughts, beliefs or lack of, attitudes, actions, and even words all affect reality. And it's through stillness of the mind, of the breath, and of the emotions that we find things just manifest. I can't begin to tell you the experience of dipping in a cold river on a hot day, but I can describe to you how to build a car if I read up about it enough. Complexity is fixed, but simplicity is malleable. You see, the complexities of the energy extraction matrix can all be defined. There are rules, protocols within bureaucracy, ownership of land and of wealth, and every inch of society is segmented off. This is order out of chaos as we commonly hear, yet it is the chaos which the binary cubed consciousness running this false matrix overlay is afraid of. It is the void of chaos which stillness and simplicity helps us filter. As a kid, I wanted to be a writer, and I would start stories but never finish them. Eventually, I stopped writing altogether, but the ideas would play like movies in my mind. And to me, that could be more profound than writing the actual story, for the less I define creation, the more creation defines me. The less we define creation, the more creation defines us. This ties in, of course, with love above will. Love generates realities interlaced and beautifully artful, and the less we move creation and just let it be, even in all its absurdity, we find that we become the moving vessels for processes beyond our understanding. This is why I always say the devil is in the details. It truly is. Any topic, whether it's health, culture, emotions, politics, sex, they all are attached to an energy extraction mechanism through complexity. And just by being a consumer of this content, you sink more into the matrix of definitions and concreteness. I don't know about you, but I'm sinking further and further into the intuitive matrix, free of tricks and full of undefinable wonder. Humans love to mull over facts, blurbs, news, and information to masturbate their bored minds. This goes back to what I said at the beginning of this video, that consciousness will create distractions for itself to intermingle with while it's distancing the focus from the self. Meaning, we can do anything to distract ourselves from ourselves. And ultimately, these distractions are illusions. They're here as third-dimensional ghosts we can play with as we inhabit the haunted house called Will Not Confront the Self. Breathe in and out. You're here. Move around. That's you in there. And everything you're experiencing, even everyone, that's also you. Are you getting it yet? The spiritual community for years have paid extra focus on dissolving the ego and have gone the opposite direction, branding service to others as the meaning of everything. But knowing that everything is a singularity, expanding into motion, emotion, action, and reaction, merely one consciousness displaying many, then the focus shouldn't be on this false dichotomy between selfish and selfless. The focus should be on healing in general. Heal yourself through your own body, through your own mind and thoughts. Then, when you have enough strength, you will naturally feel suitable to heal those around you. Not to mention, by healing yourself, by creating the conditions which allow your inner shadows to be purged, resolved, and incorporated, you are pouring that frequency into your environment, into the universe. So your own process acts as a domino effect for the rest of the processes which seem to be outside of you. The path takes all shapes and sizes. Some choose a path of solitary focus on thyself. Some choose a path of instructing or of nurturing. All paths eventually converge. And this is something that scares those wishing for concrete step-by-step protocols. The curators of the energy extraction matrix, or the elite, are often framed as oppressive, evil entities who are simply bloodthirsty. But, as I've stated in prior videos, they are temporary shadow projections of a timeline of dualism. They have accomplished, well, two things. Curated a system for parasitic extraction to lead the living souls into realizations by observing the damage of such a system, and created distractions within that system in order to let consciousness experience detachment. This isn't benevolent or malevolent. This matrix offers us the choice between what's regenerative and free, and what's toxic and in bondage. So what will you choose? Well, it's not up to us after all. This may seem contradictory, because earlier I was saying you determine reality. Well, here's another one of those tasty paradoxes I love so much. In the Hindu texts, we learn that the supreme deity is Brahma at the summit of the cosmic egg. But Brahma actually breaks apart into Vishnu, Shiva, and the rest of the gods, and it's a consistent splitting of consciousness, like cellular mitosis, until you have you, me, us. And now you're watching this on YouTube. But don't be fooled. Brahma isn't some independent god. We are that same Brahman force. So the force which connects us, orchestrates us. The recent Black Mirror episode Bandersnatch occults many truths about the topic of duality, choice, and destination. The episode revolves around a video game programmer who, after reading a choose-your-own-plot book, decides to create a video game with a similar premise, that there are two options for every split in the plot. This is symbolized by this symbol. This symbol reveals that every situation has duality within this matrix, not as a tool of imprisonment, but as a tool of eliminating contrasts. The main character starts to feel victimized by this idea that he's not in control, and his fear, well, propagates more of his suspicions. But if he had just stopped and breathed, taken some time to detox and zero in on stillness, he would realize the dichotomy of this or that is a falsity. One is faced with an infinite amount of choices in a heart-centered reality, but the mind alone is binary and can only create opposites that can never be resolved. So in a way, Bandersnatch reveals to us the torment which can come from feeling like a pawn, stemming from a mind-based consciousness. Another significant aspect of the storyline is the insistence that reality is multidimensional, that timelines can merge and diverge, and that the past and future can be changed.
People think there's one reality, but there's loads of them all snaking off like roots, and what we do on one path affects what happens on other paths. Time is a construct. People think you can't go back and change things, but you can.
This is simply the understanding that nothing functions in a linear way ever. What you do right now sends ripples throughout the multiverse. The two-path symbol could be viewed upside down, and then we see the two seemingly separate paths converging. This is a paradox, and a beautiful one. The roots of a tree spread out from the seed, and it seems as if everything is becoming more and more separate, but it's actually laying the groundwork for a new tree to emerge. It's something that requires the initial separation to generate more energy and a connective grid to solidify the birth of the new tree. This symbol tells me that no matter what direction we choose, everything in the universe will always reach the same destination, singularity. This symbol reminds us of the false dichotomy of choice, that all fragmented aspects eventually merge back into wholeness, that free will is an illusion. The term free will itself is an oxymoron. You cannot be free while maintaining a will. A will, after all, is something one writes before death. So we've been asking why. We've been asking why. It's because when we split apart reality, we don't know our place. We cannot figure out wholeness because all we're trying to do is fragmentize it. So as long as we've been asking why, how, zeroing in on the details and trying to expand upon complexities that really have nothing to do with joy, love, expression, when we do this, we end up in hell, in a very hellish state. So no matter what choices you have made, you will always have ended up here, because it is the oneness which always grows back into itself. So what's controlling us? Well, what's been controlling creation this whole time? Spirit controls creation, and unfortunately, we have identified spirits as being separate from us, that they're these astral beings that we channel or something like that. Spirit is simply the breath of creation, so everything is spirit. This is how the 0 point breaks off into many, because it's simply creative energy which this universe runs off of. So when we eliminate dualism and these intense polar schematics and asking why, and just let the universe speak through us, act through us. When we do this, we realize that all of the orchestrations, all of the many facets of existence are the same thing playing itself out in many different masks and flavors. And then we got the devil horns, same symbol. This isn't evil, this is just reflecting to us free will and how that creates despair. So in essence, this is satanic. Choice is satanic.
When you make a decision, you think it's you doing it, but it's not. It's the spirit out there that's connected to our world that decides what we do, and we just have to go along for the ride.
Everything must be processed, everything must be purged, everything must be felt, but also everything is already processed, everything is already purged. We're simply remembering in reverse what it felt like. Without definitions, there's nowhere to go but in. The Hermetic rule of motion states that nothing rests, everything is in constant motion. What happens then when we cultivate stillness within motion? Timelines split. Multidimensional quantum jumping ensues. Thank you for watching. Take care, everyone.